Over the last year or year and a half, I've got quite a lot of comments from people watching my videos telling me the obvious things that are wrong with this build. A lot more of them on TikTok than YouTube because a lot of you that are watching this on YouTube are familiar with the build and have been watching for a long time. But when I post on TikTok, I get a lot bigger audience of new people that don't know anything about what I'm doing, and they just like the first time they see it, and they point out things that are glaringly obvious that are wrong with this car. So I wanted to take a moment just to go through every single thing wrong with this car. For those of you that are new, this is my project, the ECTO-1. It's a 1962 Cadillac Hearse that I'm converting into an ECTO-1 slowly. I'm doing a lot of things wrong just because my plan is to do a stage one style build and just get it out of here and get it done right now in a way that kind of looks right. And then in a couple years, when I have a lot more money, then I will work on actually putting a great paint job on it, everything being screen accurate. But right now, we're just kind of trying to make it look like an Ecto-1 if you squint, you know? But that kind of gets us into the very first one. It's actually the biggest thing I get in my comments on TikTok, more so than YouTube, the year. This is a 1962, and the car used in Ghostbusters is a 1959. Now, there are some similarities. In fact, most of the car is the exact same. Some of you that are interested in classic cars know that every year they would change the body for a car, but in the same generation, underneath was the exact same. And it was even more so like that with the Hearses than anything else because Cadillac didn't want to change. They changed a lot in 1961 for the passenger cars. I've talked about it before, but 59, 60, 61, 62, every one had a different body. But for the Hearses, they actually kept the same bottom, like the exact same base car from 1959 all the way to 1963 or 4, where they were only changing exterior quarter panels, but the glass, the chassis, the interior, the dashboard, the wheels, the axles, the actual frame itself, the length, a lot of that stuff was the same for all those years, even though they look drastically different. That being said, what my plan with this car is to convert it to a 1959 because technically everything I need to make it a 1959 is already under the car. Like it's already ready for a 59. There are little things I need to change. I mean, the whole front's got to come off. The quarters have to come off. There's this little body line down here, the spear, that I got to cut this whole thing off and smooth it out down the whole car. Quarter panels have to come off. There's some molding around them to make them fit right. Need a custom bumper. It's a lot of work, but that is in the plan. So just know, like my plan pretty soon, as soon as I get all the chrome and all the body work, is to make it a 1959. And that is the biggest one. That's probably the one that people notice the most. Now, let's just get a little more detailed. All my roof equipment, for the record, just imagine a roof rack is here because I'm almost ready to put the roof rack on this car. So I know right now, first thing you're gonna say is no roof rack, but I'm not even considering that because I will have a pretty screen accurate roof rack coming up pretty soon, but that's gonna be for another video. Right now, the light bars is what I wanna talk about. From about your distance away, they look really screen accurate because they're very close. They're a close cousin of the right ones. The right light bar is a Code 3 Force 4 XL 48-inch light bar, and that's old. The wind pushed you over, so I figured I'd bring you a little closer anyways. The thing about these is they're a close relative to the actual light bars. There are differences. The base is different. The actual side profile is different, where normally it's like a prism that kind of goes over and then down in the lens, like so the lens has the angle, whereas the lens ends at where the angle ends. Kind of weird. It's also got these little side lights that are clear. I'm not a fan of them, and if I was when I was a teenager and I wanted to build an Ecto-1 back then, I had told myself I'd really like to have the correct light bars. They are so expensive because the blue, it's a funny thing about the blue light bars is they really don't come up for sale really ever, because they used to be thrown away all the time. The only ones you ever see are clear and red, and like used kind of what is it? It's like firehouse, like light bar collectors, whatever. All those guys only have stuff from fire departments and ambulances, because the cop cars, they normally didn't care about these, and these got thrown away and crush and all that, whatever, damaged in, riot or whatever. But the fire trucks and the ambulances had a lot better survival rate, so you get these, light bars that are red. And the hard thing is just finding these blue domes. So I figured it was more important to have blue domes than to have red or white with the correct light bar. So I decided to save a lot of money. These are a fraction of the cost, and they do the same job. I do also have these knockoff, what are these called? Par 36, Par 46, something like that. These are very close to screen accurate. I actually made these myself. I didn't upload a video on it, but I could, maybe. I still have the footage. You can see I still have to weld this hole up because I got the measurement wrong. That's something I'm going to go into in a second. These are kind of accurate knockoffs that I bought for $50 online. Some off-roading company, they just have clear lenses. Then I just painted them blue with Hobby Lobby blue paint. And then these brackets, these are actually screen accurate. These are one of the most screen accurate parts on the car right now. I have to fix the bracket right now, but these are very accurate to the car. These are made by a Ghostbusters collector and parts maker, Dr. Martin Karin up in Canada, and he hooked me up with these. These are fantastic. They're solid steel, they're very well built, and they're exactly screen accurate. Even like these and those are different because they're supposed to be. These are exactly the way the fronts are supposed to be. Those are the exact way the rears are supposed to be. Let's get into something else about the car being not completely accurate. One thing about it being the wrong year. Another thing is it's a hearse instead of a combo car. So they made 3 different versions of these cars. They made the hearse, they made the ambulance, and they made the combo. Now the real ECTO-1s, most of the real ECTO-1s that have been used were combo cars, which is called a Futura duplex, means it has 2 functions. The thing about them, there's a couple different things with my roof. Now, mine was made by the exact same manufacturer, Miller Meteor, which it means it's got the exact same roof line, it's got the exact same trim, same glass, and I can make it pretty close to accurate. There's one thing I'll never be able to get. The doors are supposed to go up this high, and this part of the roof is actually supposed to be part of the door. In the 1959 and 60, you see that. I don't know if they have them for 61, 62, but the door is supposed to kind of go this shape, and then, keep on, and then go down like that. So that's all supposed to be part of the roof. Mine doesn't have that, and really I don't care about that, but I know some people do, and some people actually have turned down ECTO-1 cars to build just because they want super accurate. The bigger issue to me is this area. Now this was a hearse, so it had this Landau bar right here. I have a picture of it right there. You can see it's got that bar, and it was just like plain metal. Now my plan in the future is to actually get rid of all this metal, is just to take a saw to it or a grinder, cut all that steel out, and it's got the framework inside to install the glass, which I have one side of the glass right now from my parts car in another video. I do have it. I can do half of it right now if I wanted to, but I don't want to do it only halfway. When I do it once, I want to do it for both sides. So I'm waiting on trying to find some of that chrome and one of those corner pieces of glass, and then we're good to go. Corner glass is very hard to find. Those are thousands of dollars each in a lot of cases. Some people buy cars just for that corner glass. Very rare, very hard to find. So those are the biggest things wrong with the body. The front clip being the wrong ear, the fins being the wrong ear, and the windows not being there, those are going to be changed as soon as I have the parts. The issue is these parts are really hard to find, and I'm actively searching, and I'm actively not finding crap. So what else is wrong with the car? Well, you got some rust down here. I've got a lot of rust repair I need to do. This area will have to be touched up when I do the quarter panel swap, because this profile right here, this shape, is not going to work for me. So I'm gonna have to redo all this anyways. So I'm just waiting, and whenever that's out, I guess I'll just replace this little bottom quarter. It kind of needs it on the other side too. Honestly, it's not that rough of a car. It's just got some really, when the rust is there, it's bad. The rockers is another big part. You can probably see it more on the other side. Let me, oh yeah, there you go. You can see some of the rust there, some of the rust there, some of the rust on the top of the grill. Got this massive dent here from the guy that had it before me. I don't know when it happened. Could have happened 30 years ago for all I know. But you can see my rockers are, they have a lot of Bluetooth. There's a mouse nest hanging out of it right there. But, it's something that's going to be changed at some point soon. Man, I don't even want to show you the inside, but I can. I guess we can show you that. Now, do not pay any attention to the wiring. I am halfway through rewiring the light bars and siren for like the third time. I decided to do it off camera just because I kind of don't want to film that. It takes too long, and I wanted to make sure I did it right and not worry about my camera. So don't worry about any of this. This is all going to be tucked in next time you see it. But I've got really nice interior. Now, if you go to Google and you look up 1959 Cadillac, this is a 59 Cadillac dash, 59 Cadillac seat, 59 Cadillac door panel, 59 Cadillac everything out here, including the 59 Cadillac windshield. Everything is 59 Cadillac. So that's why the year doesn't bother me that much. What really bothers me is the floor. I put the spray foam in just to protect it, just make sure rodents aren't flying into it all the time, because I just hate rodents and they're going to ruin the seat. This is the original bench seat from the car, and it's really, really nice. It's a good survivor. I'm going to try to keep it that way. I did this spray foam temporarily, and it's really hideous. I know. I just don't know how to weld yet. But all of this floor from here forward has to come out. There's too many little small holes, behind the seat, and the rockers have to come out. There's like this whole area. I mean, I've seen worse, but not many. It's just not in very good shape. Another thing is this door doesn't open, funny enough. One of the internals I'll have to, fix, because something in the door handle just kind of doesn't work. But the main thing is it's also really heavy. I'm sure there's probably a lot of mud built up inside of this through this door card that is keeping it weighed down. And here, let me see if I can open it. Normally I have to crawl in from the other side. Yep, there you go. So take a look at this. You can see it's like leaning down. You see how much sag there is? Here. That's height. That's the factory kind of height. And you can see from the back window, that's how much it's sagging, like maybe an inch. The door is very heavy, more heavy than the other side, making me think it's just full of crap. The main issue is it's pulling that weld. That weld snapped. And like I say, this could have happened 30 years ago for all I know. But that top weld snapped, so that hinge isn't really doing anything to carry the weight of the door. I can also give you a little better insight on how horrible the floor is. All this has to be redone too, but this is easier because this is just flat steel. So this will be a lot easier to redo than the front. The front, I need to actually buy the real Impala floor, like a 59 Impala floor, and I have to use that to do my repair. Okay. See, I have to lift it up. Look how much I have to lift it up. It shuts really nice because it hasn't really been used that much. It just needs a lot of metal work. Now see, you got a lot of rust right there. And something interesting, I'll shut this door so I can show you. For those of you that don't know, these Cadillacs, I was gonna just say that it's not straight, but it is a really straight car. The issue is the car itself from the factory isn't straight. Do you see that bulge right there? You kind of see how it just kind of shunts in for the driver door? It's like that on all of these cars, and it has nothing to do with my car being rusty or damaged or anything, because they're all like that. The reason it is like that is to be able to fit a, I think it's just to make sure this door is big enough to fit people through. I believe. And you can see this is the spacer they use for the hearses and ambulances specifically, and combos. This is the spacer they use on both sides for the bumper, just to get it that extra width. And I don't know the exact reason, but it is something to think about. When you see these cars online, you kind of just imagine it being like straight and perfect, but actually they're bulged out quite a bit, and it's quite an ugly body line from the side because it just doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense to me, and it's just not organic, but I mean, it's fine. You can see when I go back and do this car, I'm gonna cut these out at some point, install the glass, install the molding. I'm gonna leave a lot of it not perfect, you know, because I don't really care if it's super screen accurate. A lot of the things like in the roof rack, you've got all these little gadgets and gizmos. You got the Texas Instrument panel right here. You got the sniffer right there, this antenna. You got all these things in it. I don't really care about having screen accurate on much of those. There's a couple I do want to have screen accurate, like the most important. Like I'd really like to have a federal siren, the chrome siren that goes in the front, and then there's this red propeller ray. The propeller ray I don't care about as much because those are also extremely rare. They're in fact so rare that when the ECTO-1 was restored by Sony in 2008 for the video game, they couldn't find a lens for the propeller ray. So if you go to Universal Studios, that propeller ray has a spray painted lens just because they couldn't find a real one. That's how rare these things are. And I'm telling you, if Sony can't find a actual propeller ray for this car or the correct front light bar when they restore it, how the hell am I going to? I'm just a 25-year-old building these cars just kind of for fun on the weekends. Something you'll notice if you go back and watch Afterlife, the front light bar is bigger than the back because they couldn't find a 48-inch light bar for the front. So they only had enough light bars to do 48-inch screen accurate on the back and 52-inch longer than screen accurate on the front. So if you look at it, this is the right width for 1984 ECTO-1, but if you look at the 2020 ECTO-1 from Afterlife, it's 4 inches bigger. So kind of weird. That makes me just think I don't really care about having super screen accurate. And I guess the last thing you would probably care about is all the rear components that I have none of to show. The headliner's down right now just because I'm taking the headliner out, and it's a long process, so I'm halfway through it. You can see there's just nothing back here. And honestly, the floor back here, nothing's in that bad condition back here. I just have to paint it. The main issue is just you gotta source all these little computers and gadgets and all this crap, and no one's gonna know what any of it is or if it's screen accurate. So really, you can go to some hospital or some abandoned factory or abandoned laboratory, take a bunch of equipment out and throw it in the back here, and almost no one is going to notice. The things they're going to notice, they might notice the year is wrong, they might notice the roof rack doesn't have the right stuff, they might notice the rust, and those are the things I care about a lot more. Also the windows. Yeah, guys, that's just about everything wrong with my ECTO-1 replica. Like I said, this car is not perfect, and it's really not meant to be. I'm just kind of doing this for fun, and this is my first massive project. I've really never done anything to this scale before. So everything I'm doing for the first time, like all the wiring and painting a whole car, all the body work, a lot of the stuff I'm doing for the first time. And I haven't learned how to weld yet, so when I do, you'll see it. If you want to keep along with the videos, and just subscribe, and you'll see what I turn this car into in the future. Well, guys.